It's who you know and how much money you have. It doesn't have anything to do with the law. It doesn't have anything to do with justice.
The financial incentives are to keep these situations going. There's no financial incentive to settle the case. The evaluators make a ton of money. The attorneys for the minor and the family court attorneys are guaranteed payment for, if the child's 3 years old, for the next 15 years. Because they never settle, these cases never settle.
If a child is placed in unsupervised visitation or full custody with the person that they've identified as the perpetrator of abuse, you know instantly that their protective parent is never going to just walk away and stop fighting for their safety.
There's a pattern to the cases. What we found is we can finish someone's sentence when they call us. We know what the next step in the pattern is.
If there's money in the family, they'll appoint an evaluator. And first it will go to court mediation. If there's enough money, they'll recommend private mediation. Typically, they'll appoint a parenting coordinator, a parenting coach, a therapist for each family member. And the amounts that these people can charge are not regulated at all.
All these people that are making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars statewide off of the whole family law machine, they want the court to make those orders because those orders are what get them paid, and it's the reason for their existence.
Much of the money comes from the litigants. That's the chilling part of it.
That's money. That's money buying something we label as truth and justice, where it's not money buying truth or justice. It's money buying, in some cases, lies, really damaging lies with long-term consequences.
The first day I met the custody evaluator, I had this overwhelming feeling that she had already sort of made up her mind about this custody evaluation. My daughter began to talk about things that had me very concerned, which I reported to the evaluator. And one evening, right before taking a bath, she was naked on the floor and put my necklace up to her vagina and said that the snake goes into the hole. And on another occasion, she was sitting on her knees in the bathroom and began to bounce up and down on her knees. And she had a tight fist as if she was holding something. And I said, well, what are you doing bouncing? And she said, I'm on his lap. I have to hold the snake until it dies. After a short time, the evaluator did a home visit at my home and the father's home. And apparently my daughter's father and her grandfather purchased a snake to make it seem like my daughter had a snake, a pet snake, the whole time. The evaluator, when I met her next, she said, see, they're just into nature, and this is basically all your imagination. And I said, well, really, tell me when did the father get the snake for my daughter? And she said 2 weeks ago. And I reminded the evaluator that this report was made to my attorney and to CPS six weeks prior. The evaluator eventually issued a report, and the report basically said that I was a danger to my child and that my child should be taken from me. Given sole custody to the father.
I would say we're seeing an emergency here. When these children are being damaged, they're treating like throwaway kids. They're disposable. Their welfare is disregarded entirely.
The momentum is building as more and more of these children are being placed with abusers, and some of them grow up, some of them leave, run away, age out of their system, and they're finding each other and they're beginning to speak out publicly. And they're going to be a very strong force to be reckoned with. The people involved in those cases are certainly available to talk to the media.
The courts should not bear this burden by themselves, nor should any single mediator or profession. It's too serious.
What we believe and what we've suggested to the legislature is to have a multidisciplinary panel look at these cases for a second look to see if the child is safe. You know, I have no other agenda than that.
No one will fix it until the people who are making policy decide to fix it. And they're not going to decide to fix it until pressure is brought to bear on them to fix it. And that pressure has to come from the public, it has to come from the press, it has to come from our elected officials, it has to come from the oversight entities, it has to come from law enforcement. That's responsible government. That's the duty of our elected officials to make sure that the citizens are protected.
I think that the Congress is going to eventually have to come to grips with the fact that this is a national problem.